right, good morning, everybody, and we're coming to you live from the shack
Live
once again.
from the shack.
Live from the
Live
shack.
from the shack, yes.
And I'm Maggie Reese.
And I'm John McManamy.
All right, and today we're going to talk about a topic that it just is confusing to me, but we've got an expert with us, and it's the differences between extrovert or introvert. So,
Yeah, introvert and extrovert.
yes.
Okay, so guess which one of us is the introvert?
Yeah, guess. Can you make a guess?
Can you guess? I am the introvert.
And I'm the extrovert, I guess, depending on the mood.
Right, so this is what we have to figure out. Because introverts and extroverts have different ways of seeing the world and different ways of interacting with people. And what's confusing with bipolar is our introversion and extroversion can be it can change with our moods.
For sure. Yeah.
So even the experts don't know much about it when it comes to bipolar. So we have to figure out a lot of this for ourselves.
Definitely. I mean, I know when I'm in my low points, I'm a total introvert, big time. I am totally in my head, and I don't want to talk to anybody, and that's it.
Yeah, and introversion has nothing to do with being shy or anxious. It's basically about being in your head. And
yeah, I'm that a lot, I guess.
And creative people are in their heads a lot. And when we're doing a lot of our creativity, even stage musicians, they're practicing in quiet places, and they're in their heads about how they want to do their music or their acting. And as a writer, I'm a writer. I love being inside of my head and coming up with new ideas. Like for fun, I write novels.
Right.
And it's like, okay, what's my main character going to be up to today? I mean, this is far more fun than just going to a sports bar and talking baseball with people.
Right, because that gets boring.
That's okay with certain people, but that is not my world.
Yeah.
And introverts have a lot to learn, from engaging with extroverts. But this is not my world. My world is my interior world.
Right.
But then the funny thing happens. Okay, so every once in a while I get out with people, but because I'm bursting with all these interesting ideas, sometimes I can get exuberant and it's hard to shut me up.
Right. Like if you're in Oregon at your Didgeridoo Fest.
At my Didgeridoo Fest.
And you are like, boom, I'm sure you're not an introvert at that.
No, because we're talking with all these great didgeridoo people.
Yeah.
And
you got all your people in there.
It's my tribe. So they're seeing this exuberant person. But yet, if I practice my didgeridoo, I might be alone in my room for an hour.
Totally.
Yeah,
I get that. Yeah, I mean, for me, I know every now and then I have got to get out into the world because I need people. I need that. And then I get excited, and I like to have parties, so my husband will let me invite tons of people over to my house, and then that's when I extrovert, right?
That comes out, yeah.
Yeah, and it comes out, and I'm like cooking for everybody and putting on these awesome events, and then everybody goes home, and then I go back to like introvert, and I'm just like, I don't know.
Well, I relate to that because I will be out with people, and I will perk up. Okay, now, but this is the difference, I think, between an introvert and an extrovert. So, I perk up, I can even be the life of the party, okay?
Correct. Okay.
And sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. They go, oh my God, there goes John again.
Yeah, he's off.
Yeah, but that's okay, I'm just being eccentric and quirky. It's
Totally.
not the same as being manic and hypomanic, okay?
True.
And that's a topic of another video, okay?
Yes.
But, okay, so I'm perking up around people, and Maggie's like a life enhancer, so I perk up around Maggie. Right?
Yes, I'm a life enhancer!
Yay! Yeah! Woo! But now, the difference is when I get home, I'm exhausted, my battery is flat. I don't have 1 volt of electricity in me.
Yep.
It's going to take me a long recovery time. Now, the extrovert will want to party the next day. I mean, that's an oversimplification, but they're ready to go in a shorter time.
Definitely.
Me, I'm done for 6 months.
You're like, I'm tapped out.
I'm tapped, yeah, and if I've been dancing, that's it. I mean, maybe once a year, you get me out on the dance floor, and yeah, I'll be dancing with 10 people, because there's always 10 women on the dance floor for every one man. So I mean, Maggie, this is another topic. I don't know why men are so clueless about this. No, if you want to find women,
go to the dance floor.
Go to the avocado aisle or the dance floor.
That's an awesome joke right there.
Yeah.
Good and true.
But I need the recovery. I mean, I'm not going to go dancing the next weekend or the next weekend or the next weekend.
Where I guess I feel like I'm more opposite from that.
Yeah.
Because Matt, my husband, would be the introvert because he's like one big party and then he's like, Maggie, you're done for a good month and a half. Where I could have a party every weekend if you let me.
Yes. Yeah. So that's the difference.
Yeah, that is a huge difference there.
Yeah. And to some introverts, extroverts can seem boring. Okay, there's this stereotype of the glad-handing Rotarian. Okay, nothing wrong with Rotarians, mind you.
No.
But it's like, hi, I'm Joe. I'm here networking, kind of thing.
Right.
And what do we talk about? My 401k or whatever they call it.
The TPS reports.
Yeah. and look at my latest phone. That stuff is not interesting to us introverts. We're in our own inner world.
Well, that's where I feel like I kind of cross paths with what you're saying.
You cross paths, yes.
Because I go to these other parties, in the community where people are talking about their jobs and the latest technology and stuff, and I'm like, this is so freaking boring. Somebody save me here.
Yeah, that's where I'm off by the cheese dip. Because I find the cheese dip far more interesting. Yeah. It's like get me out of this room.
Totally.
But then I'm around my didgeridoo people or somebody like a life enhancer like Maggie, and they get me going. You can't shut me up.
Yeah, definitely.
So this is where not all extroverts are boring people.
There are like crossovers with anything.
There's kind of crossovers, so it's not like it's either or. So we lean toward introversion, we lean toward extroversion. So I lean heavily toward introversion, but I can perk up. And then there's these the ideal type it'd be somebody who could switch on and off between them, and there are those types called ambiverts. So if you take, say, a working situation, they can go into the boardroom and hold their own in a boardroom, and have extroverts tend to dominate those conversations. But if they can get their point of view across, and then it's time for everybody to do their projects and come back in.
Right.
That's where you need to be an introvert, because you need to blot out the distractions. You need
the quiet.
You need the quiet. You may need 4 hours to do your project. And if you're a social butterfly type, where your mind's flitting back and forth, wanting to text your friends and stuff, you're not going to put the kind of thought you need into your project.
Totally.
So.
And that tends to be my downfall sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm spreading myself in so many different directions with conversations and things going around, then I forget to focus in on some time for myself to get this whatever done, right? So
and that's important done. Just on general principles. We need our time to ourselves anyway. We talk about that in other contexts with bipolar. To prevent our minds from flipping out, to manage our illness, we need our quiet time. So I think introversion plays into this. If we're well-meaning people, often will say, get out of the house. You need to be doing socializing around people, and sometimes they're right.
Right. Yeah.
But we have to have the wisdom to say no.
And when it's too much.
Yeah, I need to chill, and sometimes that may mean missing a family gathering like Thanksgiving or even a wedding. Or something.
Oh yeah, and this is a massive problem with me when we go on family vacations with like the extended family, and they just go, and then I crash and burn, but I don't tell anybody that I need to stop.
You need to stop.
And then it leads to a disaster.
So I think it's part of bipolar and it's part of introversion. Now this is the interesting thing, Maggie. About 13 years ago, I did a reader survey. I was putting out a newsletter at the time, and I asked people to take this certain personality test and get back to me with the results. And it turned out 80% 80% tested for introversion
Oh, wow.
in a bipolar population. Now, this contradicted some scientific studies, but the
Right.
scientific studies, to do a scientific study, you would find people in a stable mood, not depressed, not manic.
Right.
So I didn't ask, what mood they were in at the time.
Right.
But I'm assuming they were depressed because if you look at other studies, we're depressed way more than we're manic.
Correct.
Especially if you've got bipolar 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think with bipolar 1, we're depressed like 3 times more than we're manic. Okay, now bipolar 2, you don't get manic. Hypomania it's a light mania.
Right.
And I think that population, they're depressed like about 30 times more than they are hypomanic. So we're talking about a largely depressed population. So when these people got back to me, I assumed they were in a mostly depressed mood.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they're going to be introverted. Maybe their baseline, their default is extroversion, but they're not well enough to be extroverted.
Yeah,
So-
that makes sense. Totally
So,
makes sense.
so that means so a lot of times for a good many of us, we're in this very thoughtful, reflective state. So this is often our normal state. So we have to. So as well as recognizing our manias and depressions, our ups and downs, we have to recognize our introversions, extroversions, because they seem to ebb and flow with
for sure.
our manias.
Oh, I definitely, hearing all this, it makes sense. And it is difficult when we go into those high spots and then we go into the low spots and you have to keep switching it up to try to balance.
Yeah, and this is where knowing thyself is important. Socrates is the guy who came up with know thyself, and this is the stuff our doctors really can't tell us. We can, of course, listen to your doctors. They've got great wisdom, but we have to connect our own dots ourselves because they're not going to.
No.
They can give us a little checklist test that says, oh, you're in hypomania, and it could be you in an extroverted state just feeling exuberant.
Right. So true.
And unless you have somebody beside you who really knows you, who can validate you, and that you trust, we don't know. So we could, and that's happened to me a lot of times.
Yeah.
Where somebody will say, "Well, you're hypomanic," and it's like, no, I'm just being exuberant. This is my exuberance.
I know that's
I am
me where I'm like, man, what?
And emotions are good.
Yeah, emotions are good. It's not too good. I'm not out of reality. I'm just having a great day. And it's fun to feel great.
And maybe you think I'm an a-hole. That's fine. That's fine with you. That happens. Normal people act like a-holes.
Yes.
So bipolars don't have the monopoly on
I know, right?
So we bring so
label.
much. So in both introversion and extroversion, we both, I think, both of them bring extra life. Bipolar is kind of like personality amplified, and these are aspects of our personality.
Definitely.
So we're, that introversion, it's this creative inner world, and sometimes it'll be expressed through our extroversion. Does that sound right to you,
That
Meg?
sounds totally right.
Yeah,
Spot on for me.
Is that kind of a wrap?
Yeah, that's a wrap. All right.
Oh, and check out our books.
Yep. Check out our awesome
Yeah.
books.
I'll promote your one, Maggie, and why don't you?
All right, there we go.
Yeah.
So this is John's book, Not Just Up and Down, and read it and check it out on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. It's a fantastic read. And then we also...
Oh, this is a fantastic personal account of Maggie's descent into madness and back, and how her family came together and helped her in her recovery. Great book. Check it out on Amazon. And also, please subscribe to this YouTube channel and get on our email lists.
And also in the future, we're going to be having more books come out. So as we get those out, we'll be talking about them. And John's got a series coming, and I have a book that kind of piggybacks on this one called Runaway Mom, and so we've got all kinds of
I've
things.
got 5 more books.
Yeah, he's got
in the works.
5 more coming out
Right.
of that. It's amazing.
So that's that exuberant side of me,
Yes, exactly.
but also the reflective side. Yeah.
For sure. Well, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Woo!
All right.
Okay.
Yes, I'm a life enhancer.
Yay! Yeah. Woo!